It's time to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits. Whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts, this is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of the Get Home Safe podcast, another episode, if you will. Good morning. Merry Christmas to everyone. It is a few days after Christmas, but hey, we can still say that, can't we? It's not quite the new year yet. So to me, the Christmas lights are still up. The decorations are still up. Why not? Let's keep this Christmas thing going. I want to recap my Christmas experience today with you guys, kind of break down exactly what happened, break down the game film, if you will, after all of this buildup, much like a Super Bowl or a playoff game. There's all this buildup for this big event, and then all of a sudden it's over, and all you can do is look back and hopefully cherish some good times. So the Christmas season delivered in full a few days ago, and could not be more happy, more blessed. Just it's a wonderful time of year, and I always get down, right after it ends, because it's like I just said, there's all this buildup, and then the presents are unwrapped, and it's like, okay, what's next? Oh wait, there is nothing next. We have New Year's. I know that's coming up, although I've never been a fan of New Year's. Turning the calendar, I don't know. It just, people celebrating, especially when I used to go out with friends and stuff, it's like, it wasn't the same to me. It was very, people are out here who are never out, and I don't know. It's just, everything feels forced on New Year's, especially with prices and things as well. So I try to go make some money on New Year's Eve and drive my Uber vehicle around and pick up people who are paying skyrocketing prices for their rides home and such. So that's what I've been doing the past few New Year's Eves. And Valerie has been gracious enough to say, all right, yeah, go do your thing on New Year's Eve. It's work. It's not fun. It's work, but I do get some fun stories. Anyway, that is this upcoming Friday. Followed, Christmas Day, of course, on a Saturday, New Year's Day, the same day every year. That is day of the week. That is, we know it's January 1st, but this Saturday, New Year's Day, we start a new year, 2021. Where in the world did it go? Can't believe it. Time has just flown. I've said that repeatedly on this podcast, and I can't believe that we'll be starting season 3 of the Get Home Safe podcast. If you remember, back in, it was around January of 2020, I kind of put my foot in the water to see about podcasting as I was kind of growing my interest in it as a listener. So, well, what does it take? So my original thought back in January of 2020 was to do something like coffee and conversation about sports and things of that nature. And I tried a few different trailers and nothing quite fit. And I did an episode, then I did another one in like February, and then March of 2020 rolled around, and we all know what happened there. And that's where I kind of got some momentum. I got the idea for the Get Home Safe title, and I had time to dive into this thing and really get it going and bring on guests and just kind of hopefully improve. Hopefully it's been improvement here after 300 something episodes, which is really hard to believe. And I got to tell you, it was a little difficult this morning when the alarm went off, just like, I don't really want to get up and go do this. But I think there's a lot of people who feel that with anything, with their job, with whatever, going to the gym, going to play a round of golf, even though these are good things for you. It's still hard sometimes to like, let's get this day started, because once it starts, it doesn't end until I come crawling back to this bed. Right. So a lot to be thankful for. I'm very thankful for the Get Home Safe podcast. Last year at this time, I think we were all just counting down the days to turn the calendar officially to 2021, get rid of that 2020 awful year that so many of us were just so happy to see gone. And, it's similar now. Just things didn't get much better, maybe a little better in some people's eyes, but 2021 is another one of kind of hysteria, kind of seeing a lot of the bad in people, plenty of good too, but it baffles me really, some of the, I don't know, the negativity, the constant fear, the just the ungrateful attitude that is out there. And so that's why I am so thankful to see when people do express their blessings. That's a big thing at Christmas time for me, is just seeing the overall love that's going around this time of year. No other holiday really brings it about. And I think that's big reason why it's kind of the only holiday that's like constantly attacked, which I talked about before and I won't get into. And people would say, well, Matt, how can you say it's under attack? There's lights and trees and stuff everywhere. Yes, I know. But it's a slow attack. It's not a tidal wave. It's kind of just a gradual. Anyway, I won't get into that. But the Christmas season, it's over. It's done with. And I'm a guy that leaves my lights. I'm sure this isn't shocking to anybody. We leave our lights up. We leave our trees up past New Year's Day. I'm not one of those Grinches that December 26th, the worst day of the year, in my opinion, by the way, you cut the tree down or rip the lights down. I mean, just it's over. It's over. No. The season goes well into New Year's Day. And I even have it beyond then. I even go a little beyond, maybe my birthday, and just kind of, that's my like request every year, because it's so nice to see everything. And what's the hurry? I'm not saying you keep your stuff up in March, but why not have it up a few days in January? What's the hurry? When's your next big decoration themed event? What would it be? St. Patrick's? No, probably all that Valentine's Day stuff, which anyway, right after the Super Bowl, goodness sakes. What do I want to talk about today? First of all, the Christmas season and kind of what Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and the day after Christmas, what all that was like. My Christmas weekend, we'll recap that. And then now that the NFL playoffs are pretty much, well, not all, definitely locked up, we kind of know who the top teams are. And there's some teams still fighting to get in, the Philadelphia Eagles of the world, the San Francisco 49ers, those teams are pushing and trying to get that final playoff spot, secure a final spot. But I think there's a list of teams, really a top 10 list of some real true contenders, the top 10 teams in the NFL, according to me, nobody else, just things I've seen. I got to tell you this, the NFC sure is loaded. The top 5 teams in the NFC alone are just a force to be reckoned with. So the great thing about the NFL playoffs is that it's a 1-game scenario. It's win or go home. Some good teams lose in the first round, and some mediocre teams get hot and win 3 in a row to get to a Super Bowl. So it's a special time. And again, you find out who teams are after Thanksgiving, really, in the NFL. But right around Christmas time is kind of when you get that playoff. All right, who's in the playoffs, but who's a real threat and who's not? It's a fun thing to dissect. So I want to do that today. Again, Christmas, and then maybe a preview of what's to come with the Get Home Safe podcast. Some more randomness, with me. I am later today going to be recording with Mr. David Guerrero, a Rio Hondo Prep graduate and somebody that has been very proud of his sons being Rio Hondo Prep football players, the father of a recent RHP football player, Jonathan Guerrero. So a lot to talk to him about. Looking forward to that conversation. I heard he was quite the player back in the day. So going to talk with him about all that, go down memory lane, maybe talk about his holiday season and such, and talk about his boys, give him a chance to brag about them. So that is an interview that you guys will hear here shortly, probably not this Friday, but maybe the following Friday. Again, I try to record these really, really early. And you guys remember a few months back when I came down, I talked about, I came down the stairs and there was just coffee everywhere, where it happened again. My new coffee maker, I think what happened is I filled it up, and when you break your routines, I got to tell you, life is all about routines. I did not wash the pot out and do all this and that. I said, oh, it'll be fine. I just put the pot in. Little did I know there was still coffee in the pot from the day before. So that's what I think happened. There was an overflow situation and a near disaster, but I saved everything again. Well, I got a little bit left in the pot here, but a little coffee left. So all is not lost this fine morning. But anyway, to Christmas now, let's get to it. So Christmas, I will say Eve, and even Christmas Eve, there was, this, we had gotten everything done pretty early this year. As I mentioned, we got a lot of gifts wrapped. I'm sure you guys saw some of the videos and things that I took. And it was just nice. Again, we lived with roommates for the past few years in a big, beautiful house where there was plenty of great decorations, but to have kind of our own little place here, kind of like it's almost like a tiny cabin, kind of the feel of it. To have the lights on, the gifts out, and everything. I mean, Val did a great job. We got our little fireplace finally, for our TV stand that has warmed the room up as well. So anyway, what was it? Thursday night, worked, got done semi early, got home, and kind of Valerie had been off not just Christmas Eve, but all day Thursday as well. Great employer she has, having 4 days off. She had to go back today, but she was off the 23rd. So I stayed home kind of in the morning on the 23rd and the 24th. We got a lot of things done around the house. We went to the grocery store for some last minute food items and for the things we were going to cook up. Got back some other little projects around here as far as clearing the space and everything for our guests. That was fun, man. And then you got home Thursday night, at least I did anyway, just before 10 o'clock. And you could really feel like, all right, it's here. Christmas is here, because Christmas Eve, the day itself, and obviously into the night, that is really when, to me, the Christmas celebration begins. Even the morning of Christmas Eve, to me, that is the best, like, we'll say 36-hour stretch, really, from about midday Christmas Eve all the way until Christmas night. I mean, there's not a better 36 hours of the year, I would think. And this is non-sports stuff I'm talking about, me, the big sports fan. So Christmas Eve, woke up, we had breakfast with some French toast, which was my one request at some point, and we made that happen. So God bless Val and her cooking skills there. The day before, we had some maple sausage that was kind of Christmassy. I got to tell you right now, you can roll me out of here as I'm speaking, because I talked about all those foods and cookies and all the sweets and everything and all the bad foods that are good foods for you last week. Woo! I did partake, my friends, and I don't want to jump on a scale anytime soon. So hopefully we go the other direction here soon, right in January, when everyone always gets very serious. But then you got football playoffs, so there's nachos and pizza flowing. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be a wreck until probably February. No, I gotta definitely watch what I eat here the next few weeks for sure, because we indulged big time, as I mentioned. So we had some French toast, Christmas Eve. And you know what, with all this rain, man, it was raining and just very, very cold. I can't remember too many rainy Christmases, but here it was. And we just kind of started to prepare, got food ready, and I had to roll into work at 2 o'clock. So I rolled out to work, and it's Christmas Eve. And for those that don't know, I always anticipated Christmas Eve being a really busy day, busy night, last minute stuff. But for the most part, things were kind of delivered and done with by the 23rd. So when you go in, at least my last 2 Christmas Eves that I've worked at FedEx, went in there and just very, very dead. We all had our little assignments. Okay, here you go to these 7 stops, and just a few pickup routes. And when I got to work in the afternoon and I saw the morning drivers already coming back from their morning afternoon runs, I was like, oh man, we're going to be done early. This is awesome. So went into work, only did 2 or 3 hours, went and did a few stops, came back, and it was not much freight. And all the bosses were like, hey guys, you can head home. I forgot to mention on the Thursday, the 23rd, when I went in a little later, it was cool. Rolled up into the break room, and all the bosses had out this nice spread of Chinese food, and music was blasting, Christmas music and everything. And I was like, all right, cool. We got to get some work done today too. But we had all the food, and oh man, it was so cool. It was all right, Christmas is finally here. So Christmas Eve, only worked 3 hours, came home, and as is the custom, as is the tradition, I stopped at In-N-Out on the way home, went to the one here in Eastland, which is kind of a nice, I don't know, it's never that crowded, at least when I go. So went in there, grabbed our order, and wouldn't you know it, man, God has a sense of humor. I don't know. Maybe you guys play this game. I do sometimes. I always curious what number I get at In-N-Out, or any food place for that matter. But In-N-Out is kind of the one that speaks a little louder than others. And I looked down, and sure enough, number 15. I was like, wow, divine intervention on Christmas Eve, Christmas miracle, a 1 out of 99 shot. But I thought that was pretty cool to get that for my order. In-N-Out Lotto, In-N-Out Keno, whatever you want to call it. That was pretty neat. So that just made me smile even more. Anyway, brought home the food, and just In-N-Out burger tastes good always, man. But on Christmas Eve, there's something even more special about it. So we had the lights going, the music, everything, threw down our In-N-Out burger, and then it was presents time for me and Valerie. And we exchanged all of our gifts that we had for each other, had quite a few great things. I got some great pants from her, some pajama type pants that are warm because it's been freezing around here, and got some cool socks, of course, some USA American flag socks, and some other socks that had the Godfather Marlon Brando on them. Those were pretty cool. What else did she give me? Nice cigar cutter. That was awesome. Oh, and fellas, she loves candles. I enjoy the smell of candles and like certain scents and everything. I think it's cool. And so I like those long lighters that you don't burn your hand that way. You just kind of, she got me one that's like rechargeable. It looks like a lightsaber. It's awesome. I'm not a big Star Wars guy, but that's just what it looked like. So a little electric current flowing out of it for the lighting of candles around the house and such. So that was pretty, or cigars, whatever. And so it's rechargeable. That was a great gift. What else did I get from Miss Valerie that I really, really enjoyed? She'll get mad at me for not remembering this. I got so many things from her. One thing that will hopefully be used in this podcast. At first, I thought it was a selfie stick or something, which I despise. But I go, what? She said it's I forget the name. It's actually, let me see. Is it right here? Oh yeah. What is this thing? It is a gimbal stabilizer. So I guess for like filming, she gave it to me specifically from like watching me film the Rio games and such. Apparently, if you're moving around or bouncing around, it keeps the camera pretty steady. I think some people use this for selfie sticks or whatever, but I will not be doing that. However, it is apparently, stable. And I think as the aforementioned Mr. Guerrero, I think he uses something like that when he was filming Jonathan's games. I could be wrong, but I thought that was a very thoughtful gift from my lovely girlfriend, Valerie Burns. Very, very cool. And what else? I remember so many other gifts. Anyway, I will move on from there. We will, got a nice, like a sweater type, not a sweater, but one of those. I like those hybrid shirts. That's like an in-betweener. Like, is this long sleeve? Is it heavy? Is it light? When we all kind of have those days here in Southern California where it's like, it's breezy, but I don't want to put anything on heavy. So got one of those. So absolutely love that. My friend Devin Drain stopped by Christmas Eve to drop off some gifts, which was very thoughtful of him. A gift he gave me was this awesome LA Rams hat that is the Rams logo up here. We had camouflage on the bill and on the logo, an American flag on the side here. And it is the Veterans Day of merchandise that like the teams wear for that weekend in November, where they all have the camouflage and stuff. So this is something I really, really wanted and had not ever told anybody. And Devin Drain, you nailed it, man. One of my favorite Christmas gifts. Don't tell Val or anyone else who gave me gifts, but I love it, man. Thank you so much. I love the hat. Needed some Rams magic here upcoming. And I don't know, the hat fits great. I love it. And man, it was a great, great gift indeed. So Christmas Eve, we exchanged presents. We watched kind of a nice movie called The Last Holiday, starring, of all people, I heard this movie listed on a list of like top Christmas movies, and I couldn't. I was like, Queen Latifah, starring Queen Latifah and LL Cool J, called The Last Holiday. It's actually a pretty good movie. Not super funny, but it was just, it had a bunch of, I don't know, it was a good theme, and that's all I can say. Something that was kind of the right type of movie for Christmas Eve. So we watched that, and then it was time to get to bed because Santa was coming, right? And left out some milk and cookies. Yes, for reals, I did. And wouldn't you know it, there were cookie crumbles and a glass, a half empty glass of milk when I woke up. So I don't know how that happened, except that Santa Claus came. So Christmas morning, got in stayed in the pajamas and went over to my dad's house. Saw my dad and my brother there, who had been having quite themselves a good time Christmas Eve, as Sam was off early, and went over to Dad's lovely home in Glendora, and where we grew up and everything. We walked in the house carrying some gifts and everything over there, and man, oh man, the smells of the kitchen just flowed out. My dad had a Christmas ham going, big spiral ham, the coffee flowing, of course, and then Had a pumpkin pie that he had from Marie Callender. I was like, wow, Dad, he really nailed it. Went all out with the Christmas spirit of the morning, and had the food ready. So we were chomping on some ham while we were having Christmas gifts and such. So that was really cool. Nice little Christmas morning. Again, Christmas morning just feels different. It's different in the sense of like, you just have that, I don't know, that Saturday feel that I've talked to you guys about, or Sundays. It's like, you feel like anything's possible. Like everything tastes good. Give me that, give me this, give me that. And we sure did. So we had ham, we had pumpkin pie, we had some coffee, a little eggnog as the morning went on. But as we were opening gifts, or after we opened gifts, we ended up watching most of that All Madden documentary, which I recorded and will definitely watch again. Man, what a doc that was, about an hour and a half, and just kind of went, documented his life when it talked about him coaching and how he got into broadcasting, and how he became really the pioneer, if you will, for the number two man in the chair, the color commentary, the guy that broke down being a former coach and being in the booth and everything. Like, it was so it had never really been done before. The writing, the teleprompter and writing of, the yellow marker on everything, all of those things were John Madden that he started. And, boom, everyone knows that John Madden voice when you'd walk in a room and you could hear his voice on the TV, and just, you'd smile because he was so relatable. And that was a big part of the message in the documentary, was that, we all know John Madden didn't fly. He had a fear of flying, and that's why he had the Madden cruiser. And so he would be on the road for days, weeks at a time, going from stadium to stadium. And he would stop in these small towns. He was appreciative of people from those flyover states, if you will, the people that make this country go, the people that work 7 days a week. There are no days off. And he was just very open and loved taking pictures and talking with people. I thought that was fascinating. To me, that was my favorite part of it, was knowing that this is a guy who made some big time money doing what he did, was very famous, very popular, probably the best at what he was doing, and yet took the time to learn about people in small towns and other parts of the country that most of us have never been. So that was fascinating. If you get a chance, I highly recommend it. All Madden. He's 85 now, I believe, and to see his eyes light up with some of the memories, some of the stories, hearing from his wife and kids, I mean, it tugged at the heartstrings for sure. It was a great thing to have on Christmas Day, Christmas morning for most of us. And that led into the first football game of the day, the Browns and the Packers. I thought that was well done by Fox, very well done indeed. And it was around that time, as the doc was kind of wrapping up, where we had to get home because we had some cleaning to do, some last minute cooking. And it's crazy when you think you have time. How many, you think you have time, and things just like, before you know it, it's like, oh, it's kickoff, meaning not just sports related, but like, okay, the family's going to be here. And we got here, we started cleaning up. We did some maneuvering, had to move a table here or there so that we could eat, God bless Val, she's very proper and wanted a nice, I've kind of been raised on the whole grab a plate, go find a place to sit type of deal. But she was very adamant about, no, we need an actual table to sit at and share a meal. And at first I didn't get it, but I was like, no, you're right. And then once we did do it, once we did sit down and we're able to enjoy that, I was like, you know what? We don't do that enough, especially at Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever. We need to do a better job of that. I need to do a better job of that. So that is what it's all about. It's good to have those traditions and those I don't know, philosophies, whatever, to have an actual meal at a table, especially for big events like that. So we did that. Her family came over, and man, it was, we just kept it going. We had the open the gifts, ended up having a couple cigars on the patio. It was chilly out there. It started to rain towards the night, but just a great Christmas. We had lasagna, which was amazing. Some nice toasted bread and things as well. And homemade lasagna courtesy of Miss Valerie, and just a phenomenal evening. She baked a ton of cookies in the morning that a lot of them got consumed here on these premises, but we did give a few out to my dad, my brother, a neighbor or two, had a glass of eggnog for them. I mean, it was really everywhere you looked, there was blessings. And that's really what Christmas is all about. Not just the birth of our Lord and Savior, but also to just embrace who's around you, what's around you, and I got my fill of that this Christmas season and the Christmas weekend, if you will, and it didn't end Christmas night. Christmas, what would that be? Post Christmas day, Christmas non-eve or post eve, whatever. We had some cleaning up to do for sure. The Rams played 10 a.m. Played a little sloppy at times, but did manage to get a road win at the Vikings. So that was a nice continuation of the Christmas celebration. And then we had to get out to Northwoods Inn as the evening rolled around for a birthday celebration. So, man, that was a great way to kind of wrap everything up, tie a bow on it. We did watch our favorite show, Yellowstone and Dexter, of course. But when you look back at it all, it just flew by. And it started Thursday morning, kind of with both of us being off, which doesn't happen often. I had to go in late afternoon, but had a great time with Valerie. Just very, very blessed this Christmas season. And as we turn into a new year, 2022, I don't always like that changing the calendar, as I mentioned, but you know what? That's just life. Life goes on. We get a year older, which is crazy to think about. And I remember like 1992 was like the first year that I remember as a student, as a kid being like, this is what a year is. This is how you write a year down. 92, I think it was second grade or something like that. And I can't believe that was 30 years ago. And basically coming into 2022, all those 1990s are gone. All those 2000s are gone. The teens are gone now. We're into the 20s. And it's just like, wow, this is what adulting is. This is crazy to me. I can't believe it. And it gets crazier and crazier. I still feel like high school was a few years ago. I feel like college was maybe 2 years ago. And no, life goes on. So I told Val this, though, that for the first time, I think it took me 36, almost 37 years now, to kind of really start to feel comfortable, to feel content. Not always a great word, but a decent word at times, to just feel semi, productive. Like I used to kind of have to justify my actions and be like, well, I'm pursuing this dream, so I'm behind in this area. I was trying this job out, so I'm behind here, dating this there's all kinds of elements that I felt held me back a little bit in certain areas of my life. But for the first time, the job, the career is kind of headed in a good direction. I have a secondary income situation that helps. I got this podcast as a wonderful hobby for me that it takes work. It's a labor of love, as they say, right? But it's really fun to do. And the interaction with you guys, and have a new home here, which is not the super ideal, but it's home, and we're going to be here a while, and it's just us. We're on our own, which I never thought a few years ago, like, how am I ever going to do this? But so that's going well. Got friends, got family. I mean, what more can you ask for besides hopefully bigger and better things? But for now, my heart is pretty full, I got to say, and not to get all sappy on you guys, but I do feel pretty good about how things are now. The Hersema inside of me knows that that's a scary, scary place to be in, because just like that, things can change. And what can go wrong usually does go wrong. So I'm hoping that nothing super negative happens here, because honestly, life is pretty good. I'm happy. The Rams are going to go to the playoffs. They'll probably lose, but still, you know what? I'll take that anytime after, especially a few years ago when they were just absolutely awful. By this time next week, our next Tuesday episode, it'll be a new year, and we will know the two teams that will be playing in the college football national championship. I do think Alabama will win and advance to the championship game. And I also think the Michigan Wolverines pull it out over Georgia. It's a huge step up game for the Wolverines, not just playing some tough Big Ten opponents. This is an SEC team that is well coached and is going to play good football. They're looking to avenge their only loss against Alabama, get back to the title game for another shot. But I do think Michigan and Alabama will be your two teams in the national championship in a couple of weeks. But for now, a lot of bowl games still going, a lot of bowl games getting canceled. I have some opinions on that I don't know if many believe in or share with me, but I think it's ridiculous that the bowl games are being canceled from very healthy 20-year-old men who are out there playing a sport, and kind of something that I don't know, something that motivates them, something that they work every day for, and to kind of not have opportunities to go play football games and expose your skills and such. That's disappointing, but I won't get into. I'm going to try to stay semi-positive here. I do think it's ridiculous though that college bowl games are getting canceled. Do we need all these bowl games? Probably not, but we do schedule them. So let's go ahead and play them for the kids, for the students, for the alumni, for everybody. I mean, anyway, I will stop right there. Okay, to close out today's show, I have a top 10 list. Of course, I've had a top 10 Christmas list the past few weeks. I want to go into another one with you guys today regarding the NFL. Again, week 17 is upon us. And not only that, there's a week 18. Don't forget, 17 games this year, of course, with a bye in there as well. That's how we get 18 weeks. So I really hope no one gets significantly injured in week 18 playing that extra game. I know it can happen at any time, but still, playing that 17th game. I hope the NFL goes back, honestly, to 16 games. I think it fits better. It's a better, I don't know. That's just me. I like the quarters of the season, a 4-4-4-4. But anyway, and guys, I told you Hard Knocks on HBO Max or whatever you have it. Oh, you guys got to check that out. The Indianapolis Colts, the in-season Hard Knocks, way better than the preseason Hard Knocks episodes of the past. The in-season one is phenomenal, and I'm a big fan of the Colts, I think, because of that, but also their production on the field. So anyway, here's my top 10 list currently. You will see it's pretty NFC heavy at the top, because I do think those are 3 or 4 of the best teams in the league. And there's some other teams on here that maybe didn't make the cut, or, you're like, where's this team? This is just my opinion, who I think the top 10 teams are, with 2 weeks to play in the NFL as we head into the playoffs. Keep in mind, 14 teams do in fact make the playoffs in the NFL, 7 from each conference. But I'm doing a top 10 list just because, here's kind of some real contenders in my opinion. Okay, at number 10, I have the Arizona Cardinals. They have not been finishing their seasons well the past few years. Cardinals were the hottest team in football for most of this year, but have lost 3 in a row. Things are not looking good. They better turn it around quick. I think Kyler Murray throws the football really well, but again, he's running for his life most of the time, and people love that. People love that he moves and creates magic with his legs, but I do think it wears a guy down. And Kingsbury is under some pressure here to get some wins here in December and January, because most of the month of December has not treated him well. At number 9, I have the Titans. Kind of an inconsistent team, but someone who is 10-5 currently. They have the best running back in football, Derrick Henry, when he is healthy, when he returns. Ryan Tannehill, their quarterback, is really hot and cold. Looks great when he plays like my Rams, for instance. But I think what gives Tennessee their identity, really who they are, is their head coach. And their head coach and Mike Vrabel, and just they're a pretty tough defensive team. They're a team that I think, like a couple of years ago, could win a couple ball games in the postseason, just because they're kind of built for January and playoff football. At number 8, I have the New England Patriots. Lost this last week to the Buffalo Bills, but still, I think the Patriots have done a lot with not a whole lot as far as experience-wise at the quarterback position. And Mac Jones, he's a guy that's not going to make mistakes too often anyway. And they've been able to piece together some victories here in this season so far. And I think the Patriots could be a scary team. They're a team that's built around defense. And of course, anytime you look across the sideline and you see that hoodie, that Bill Belichick guy, he definitely has tricks up his sleeves and knows how to get a lot out of his teams. And so I think they're a team that could shut anybody down defensively. And again, in January, in the playoffs, that's kind of what it's all about, is shutting teams down. And if he can get just enough out of Mac Jones in that offense, then then we'll see just how far the Patriots can go. It's all about their run game too. If they can run the ball, watch out for the Patriots, which is weird to say, but all their success in the past, even though Brady's not there anymore, still you always got to worry about that team from Boston. The team they lost to on Sunday is my number 17, the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is an exciting guy to watch. He runs around a lot. He's big. He's strong. I don't know long-term if that's going to work, but he seems to be a guy that always has the Bills in games, no matter who they're playing, what the score is. They can put up points in a hurry. He's exciting. He's kind of does it all himself, right? They don't have much of a run game outside of him, so that concerns me. But they have a pretty good defense as well. Their head coach Sean McDermott kind of specializes in that side of the ball, and they got some playmakers over there, especially in the secondary for Buffalo. So watch out for the Bills. If they get to play home games, they win that AFC East and they're able to host a couple of home games, I think that could put them in a real good position to make a playoff run here in a couple of weeks. At number 6, I have my Los Angeles Rams. When they have played well this year, they have looked like a top 2 or 3 team, but when they've played poorly, that you're just kind of like, who are these guys? What is happening? There was 3 losses in a row in November. That didn't sit well. On Sunday, Stafford has had a great year. He's the youngest, I think, player to get to 50,000 passing yards. And he's had 2 prolific seasons with this year with Cooper Kupp and a few years back with Calvin Johnson in Detroit. But man, when he makes a few throws, you just like scratch your head. Like what happened there? He had 3 interceptions against Minnesota on Sunday on the road. So a little disturbing there, a little worrisome, if you will, for me, just from the sense of, I don't know. You never know who's going to show up there. Cam Akers is coming back for the Rams. Their star running back who tore his Achilles in July hasn't played a down all year. If you remember last year in the playoffs, though, had some pretty good games on the ground. And if he comes back and is able to contribute in the postseason, watch out for the Rams, who I think their strength, even though they have all these weapons with Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham Jr. and not Cam Akers, Jefferson, Van Jefferson. I still think they are built best when they are running the football. It opens up the play action and they're able to put up a lot of points that way. But defensively, still the best player in football in Aaron Donald. And man, Jalen Ramsey, just there's something about him locking up another team's best receiver. It's crazy. But I think the Rams defense, it's not as good as they were last season, but still pretty good here upcoming against the run anyway. Play pretty good football. And if they can get pressure from their guys up front, don't forget about Von Miller and those guys. If they can put some pressure on quarterbacks in January, I think the Rams could win a few ball games here. They now are in the lead for the NFC West, so I'm happy about that. Hopefully they can get a home playoff game, at least one game at SoFi, and piece together a few victories. At number 5, surprisingly, kind of high on the list, I know, I have the Indianapolis Colts. Look they started the season off, 2-4, 1-3, whatever it was. People were like, what is going on in Indy? People didn't like the Carson Wentz situation, but Frank Reich has really pieced that team together, put them in a good position to win. Jonathan Taylor is the best running back, has had the best season, I should say, in the NFL. That O-line is fantastic. I know I mentioned Derrick Henry earlier with the Titans, but I think body of work throughout this season, Jonathan Taylor has really been a star. And Carson Wentz, if he doesn't have to throw it a whole lot, I think that the team does just fine with him hitting a little throws here and there. And obviously with Jonathan Taylor running the ball. I love their defense. Their middle linebacker, what is his name? He's called the Maniac, I think. Darius Leonard. That guy is a rising star on the defensive side of the football. Absolutely phenomenal. Does it all, really. They got a great defensive line. DeForest Buckner, the former Niner, he plays there. I mean, it's just they're pretty, I will say, pretty balanced as a football team, and they have put together a nice season. And I think the Colts, watch out for them in the AFC, because I don't think the AFC is that strong. I think Buffalo is beatable. New England's beatable. Tennessee's beatable. I think the Colts or the Colts might come out of nowhere and at least get to that AFC Championship game. At number 4, I have the Dallas Cowboys, who put a whooping on the Washington Redskins on Sunday Night Football. Dallas exploded for 50 something points. I think it was almost 40 or maybe over 40 in the first half alone, and just took it to the Redskins, who are obviously clearly a lower tier football team, and will probably miss the playoffs this year, despite making it last year. The Cowboys, they are based around the run. Dak Prescott is good. He's got great wide receivers, but when they get Ezekiel Elliott going, when they get their other running back going, when they get that run game going, they are just unstoppable. They've been inconsistent offensively, but they're starting to regain that rhythm. And what impresses me about the Cowboys is, again, on the defensive side of the ball, they got some players. How about Diggs with his 11th interception this season? How amazing is that? Micah Parsons is probably the best young linebacker in all of football. That guy's everywhere. And DeMarcus Lawrence, an interception, pick 6. That was maybe the play of the year, in my opinion, what he did on Sunday night with the pick. Just a big man who's a superb athlete with the pick 6 for the Cowboys. So the Cowboys defense is scary good. And I don't know what the paper says, but to me, the Cowboys defense is the best defense in all of football. At number 3, I go to the Kansas City Chiefs, who everyone remember back in October, everyone panicking when they were 2-4 or whatever. Well, they've rattled off a ton of wins in a row. They're still not quite where they were maybe 2 years ago when no one was going to touch them. But still, anytime you got Patrick Mahomes behind center, and all those weapons, Travis Kelce has really stepped up and kind of been a guy that shows that he's one of the best tight ends in football. I mean, their entire team has rediscovered themselves, I'll say. Andy Reid is still the best in the business. And after a rough start to the season, again, you just give it time. The Chiefs are going to be just fine. I think the Chiefs are definitely a favorite to get back to the Super Bowl at this point. I would love to see Chiefs and Colts in the AFC title game. I think that would be a lot of fun. At number 2, I have the defending world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They still have Tom Brady. They still have a ton of weapons. They still have a great defense. They returned 22 starters from last year. I know they took a loss 9-0 to the Saints last week, but they bounced back with a big win over the Panthers this last Sunday. They are going to be, or they did win the NFC South. I think it's all about, January with these guys. They won 3 road games last year, so they don't necessarily need that home field advantage. They still got that number 12 Tom Brady guy, and he's the best to ever do it. And I think he makes people around him better. And you could see that clearly with the Tampa Bay organization. At number 1, I have the Green Bay Packers. I miraculously made a bold prediction in August that the Packers would miss the playoffs. I thought the distractions with Aaron Rodgers were just too much, but that shows you how much I know in my crystal ball. They are probably the best team in football, 12-3 with 2 games to play. Aaron Rodgers, after the embarrassing opening season loss to the Saints, after the whole COVID situation, the media hating him and this and that. After all those things, the Packers are still 12-3, best record in football, and appear to be on their way to at least a few playoff victories. They did get to that NFC Championship game last year with a victory over my Rams at Lambeau Field, and then lost a tough one to Tom Brady and the Bucs in the NFC title game. I think the Packers will definitely be back again hosting that NFC Championship game this year, and more than likely will probably win that game and get to the Super Bowl. A lot of people want to see Aaron get there again. It's been a long time since he won one back in 2009, but man, the Packers have been in that title game 3 or 4 years in a row now, with losses to San Francisco, and then of course last year to Tampa Bay. They've been so close, but I do think their time is now. At least it appears that way. Even if Rodgers doesn't play great defensively, kind of balances them out. And man, they're a scary team. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man, and the Green Bay Packers, it's a very tough place to play, that Lambeau Field in the wintry month of January. So that's my top 10, guys. You know what? Take it or leave it, whatever it is. We're going to find out for sure who that top 10 is here in the upcoming few weeks of NFL playoffs. Very much excited for all of that, and can't wait to get this thing going. That is the one upside, I guess, of after Christmas or Christmas ending, is that there's plenty of football to watch on the weekends, and it just gets less and less. We go from 3 games a day to 2, then to just 1, and before you know it, we're done. So maybe that will be the natural stop to the Get Home Safe podcast, the breather, if you will. Or I just keep this thing going and just play through rain and keep going. So that's it for me today, guys. Keep in mind, Dave Guerrero will be on the podcast here on an upcoming Friday, but I also am going to have with me Bill Barnes on the podcast. He makes a return appearance to say hello, maybe talk about Christmas, maybe talk about the upcoming New Year, maybe to just to vent and let it all out. Okay, we all know how Bill is. He's been brewing here for a couple of months, having not been on his weekly Wednesday weigh-in spot. I think he's ready to come back on, just to say hello to the fans out there and really, wreak havoc on a lot of the different thoughts and things he's got going. So anyway, I will step aside, guys. Thank you for joining me today. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you Friday with an interview, long form conversation, more than likely Bill Barnes or David Guerrero, whoever I decide. I haven't decided yet, but it'll be New Year's Eve. And we'll say goodbye to this crazy year of 2021 and move on to the next crazy year with more craziness and stuff. So thanks for joining me today, guys. Really appreciate it. As always, our final Tuesday episode of 2021. Man, that's crazy to even think about, but we'll do more and more as we go forward and just keep this thing rolling, guys. As always, plenty of ways to follow the Get Home Safe podcast. We can be listened to pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts: Apple, Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, just wherever. And of course, our YouTube channel. If you haven't seen that yet, go check that out. You can see my ugly mug on there, as well as the guests I have. But however you listen or watch the podcast, greatly appreciate the support, the kind words here and there. And you know what? Any content suggestions or whatever, you can shoot me an email. You know how to get me: gethomesafepodcast@yahoo.com. So that's it, guys. Have a great rest of your week. We will see you Friday. But guys, as always, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or around in third base, get home safe.